Welcome to the Crystal Zinn podcast. I believe our bodies are a living map of the entire universe. All the answers reside within. Remember, you are sovereign, whole, and infinitely valuable. And the best gift we can give to the world is our own healing. Join me as we explore holistic tools, spiritual practices, and paradigms that are shifting the way people experience life, business, and relationships. I love to share education on the most recent medical research and cutting-edge technology on anatomy, neurology, trauma, development, and more to give us a foundation in understanding how to align, utilize, and upregulate our physical systems. Ultimately, this podcast is a witness and support to people on their journey of remembering, an inspiration for all of us to keep going, and a reminder that we are not alone. Welcome back to the Crystal Zinn podcast. Today is a really exciting episode for me because I think I've rarely ever done this in the past. This might be the first time, or maybe only the second, where I've done a second visit of someone that I've really enjoyed talking to. So we'll call it Craig 2.0. And we alluded to it at the end of the other podcast I released, that we would go deeper into some of these subjects. So I'm really excited for this. Welcome back, Craig.
I'm so honored. I'm so stoked to be here. I'm so excited. Let's go.
I'm so grateful for your willingness. We're recording a little bit earlier. We're headed into a full moon. We have some exciting things to talk about. So let's tune in right now, right at the beginning. It seems like we're dialed in, but that's a tradition on the podcast. And then we're just going to dive into these things. So any of the things you wanted to hear or know, just listen. We're just going to flow. So welcome to that today. If you're in a place where it's safe to do so, go ahead and close your eyes. If you're feeling a lot of energy buzzing around, if you're listening to this close to the time we recorded it, we're just going to take the energy around our body, pull it in on an inhale, insourcing, not outsourcing. And then on an exhale, picture a vortex in your heart center. We're going to continue doing that. One of my shamans described this as pulling your arrows back from the universe, from other people, from the world, putting your arrows back in your quiver. So if that visualization helps, on every inhale, you're pulling in through every pore of your body. And through every exhale, a spinning vortex right at heart center, driving the energy equally up and down. We'll take 5 breaths like this, circulating your own torus field. Fun anatomy fact, this is actually how your heart muscle works. It's a spiral muscle. The vortex energy is what pumps the blood around your body, not muscle. And it comes out the top of your ascending aorta and the bottom of your descending. And this is exactly how it moves around your body. So this is some actual vestibular and somatic awareness. See if you can feel it. Good. And the more accurate anatomy knowledge we have, combined with an emotion and an intention, is the most powerful way to create in the world around you. So for the last couple seconds, remember a time where you were in ultimate flow, a time when you were unconditionally loved, or a time where you felt overwhelming gratitude. Infuse this flow of your vibrational energy with that feeling. And then think of what you want the most. Good. We're going to have to set that aside. You could pause this video. You could sit in this for an hour, but I just want us to set that aside, surrender it up to the universe for its perfect timing, and then come back with an inhale and exhale. How do you feel?
So good. I feel like I'm the only one that can respond. So good.
You are the voice of the people right now.
I'm the voice of the people. I that felt fantastic. Oh, oh. Got the word vestibular in there. Ascending and descending. That was the most technical meditation I've ever done.
No, right?
I love it.
Okay. There's so many options, and
I
only 90 seconds.
I just absolutely love it. I've gone back to watch a couple of other ones on other episodes, and
Yeah.
it's just awesome. I love how you say if it's safe to do so right now. Like, hey, if you're driving, let's not do this part. Just fast forward
Hey,
2 minutes.
I mean, some people are operational command, and you got to be
I
responsible when you're directing.
think it's awesome. If it's safe to do so, like he's operating a crane or
Yeah.
anyway, I don't know. I just think it's awesome.
Craig doesn't know this yet, but I actually did release our first episode this morning. I just
Yes.
haven't advertised it on social media yet, and I decided to call it You Can't Heal in Survival Mode, Returning to Authenticity.
Mm,
And the places where it let me write more on different platforms, I said returning to authenticity through the nervous system.
mm.
Um,
Highest
one-
vibration on the planet.
yeah, I wonder if you may be willing to start there because there's so much to say about describing authenticity, what that looks like as we get closer to that target, or maybe just uncover, oh, I thought I knew what that meant, but once I feel it, on your
Mm,
technology or in a meditation or many ways that we get there, maybe expand on what that means to you and how you
totally.
get there.
So look, each emotion that we feel has a vibration, and intuitively we know this. Love feels the way love feels. Somebody else's love feel unconditional love when you recognize and see unconditional love when you either present it or when you receive it. Sorrow, sadness, guilt, shame, right? All these different emotions, they have an energy and a weight to them. And for the longest time, doctors and researchers thought that gratitude, love, that these were the highest ranking emotions. And it turns out there was I forget the exact study, but the study went something like as they were doing the research, the researchers realized that there was a moment of authenticity where the participants were they recognized that they were being truthful with themselves and representing themselves in a very specific way. And the researchers identified that as authenticity. And they watched the vibration jump through the roof. Not like a little bit, but like through the roof from the measurements they were getting from gratitude and love. And we very quickly realized that authenticity is the highest vibration that you can hold. And you are the only person who knows you're being authentic. That's the most wild part. I could sit here and we could talk for the next hour and have a beautiful conversation. And maybe inside it's not the case, by the way. This is my authentic self. But maybe the case, maybe it was the case that it's hypothetically that it's my internal dialogue that I don't believe any of this. That this is all just lip service. And I'm not being my authentic self. That I really believe in beating up on yourself and others for them, whatever, right? You wouldn't know it. If I present myself as this is what I love to do, because it is, you wouldn't know it. Who would know it? I would know it. And I would be inauthentic with my highest and best self. And turns out the highest vibration you can hold is being authentic to yourself, whatever that means. And sometimes it's career, sometimes it's work, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's relationship, sometimes it's kids, sometimes it's parents, sometimes it's a significant other. Sometimes it's just about setting boundaries. No, not interested in doing that. I think this was like the last thing that we were talking about, right? As we broke the last show, you were like, I'd love to have you back again. And I was like, I would love to come back again. And you weren't like, really? And I was like, I wouldn't say it if I didn't want to do it. Like, right? Like I don't do that. I've gotten to a place in my life where if I don't want to do it, I'm going to be nice about it, but I'm going to kindly decline. Hey, you know what? I'm not really into that. And with my wife, it's actually sometimes it's even more direct. Like sometimes she'll bring something up and I'll just be like, yeah, no, I don't, that's, no, you ladies have fun. That sounds great. You know, like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm so happy. I love that for you. That's great. That's not for me. And that's just the way this is going. Yeah.
Like,
Authenticity, highest vibration.
it feels, at least now in my life too, it feels like such a relief. Like the way I would describe when someone is authentic towards me like that, and I can feel that, like you said, only we can know truly, but you can sort of pick up on it.
Yeah.
It feels like it calms my nervous system. When I do it and
Yeah.
when other people do it, it feels like there's space, like truth is kindness. And I have noticed with myself and with others, but that's kind of unfair to talk about others. So I'll just talk about myself. That there is a space or a journey towards authenticity when there are times when I had thought I was being authentic and I wasn't. Like there's a lot of crap in the way and egos
Yeah.
and stories and things a lot of times where even maybe someone else may be saying to us, you're lying, you're being a jerk, like that's not what
Yeah.
you mean, and you're sitting there going, it totally is, right? And you're digging in. So I know what that journey looks like for me, and I'm curious for you, what was a time where you were able to expand your consciousness and access more authenticity, and by what means? How do we get there?
Look, it happens in the little things and it happens in the big things. And there's lots of there's lots of room for that in the different relationships that we have. And more importantly, I think the relationship that you have with yourself. Knowing and identifying what you enjoy doing, what you want to do, where you want to put your energy versus where you do put your energy is, I think, at a core functionality for all of us, really, really important because that's where it starts. I think you have to sit and spend time with yourself. It's one of the things I love about meditation, mindfulness, sound lounge sessions, asking yourself the question like, what do I want? Where am I not in alignment in my life? Where is it that, because you know, right? Somewhere inside you know. Either it's ego that you're protecting or somebody else. There's lots of good reasons to do things that you don't want to do. But by the way, if you're doing something because you want to protect someone or because you want to support someone or because you want to, that can be your authentic self. There's plenty of people that serve others. Once your cup is overflowing and you're serving from your saucer, which is another thing that we wanted to talk about, it's very much okay to want to serve others and be fulfilled serving others as long as that's in alignment with your core wants and desires, and that is your authentic self, then that's fantastic. It's when things become disharmonious. It's when you begin to feel spun out or stretched or spread thin. And all of a sudden, you just don't have the capacity to take care of yourself and whatever it is that you're pushing towards and doing. So I think, first and foremost, I think you have to sit down with yourself. And by the way, I've done this just in the last 5 days. I've done this a few times with rather long sound lounge sessions on not on my 0G. I was actually on my sound lounge one, sound lounge three with the red light, but sound lounge sessions where I sat down with a very specific intention of what's next. Where am I headed? Of all the priorities that I have, what's most important for me to focus my attention on? And show that to me. And and sure enough, in the depths of my meditative state, I have a very clear vision of exactly what I need. And you can call that connecting with your higher self. You can call it connecting with your intuition, whatever it is. There's a core guidance inside me. And I'm here to tell you that you have this, and everybody that's listening has this as well, that you can tap into to find that true north for you, which is constantly moving. I think that's the other part of this that for me, it's cool because you get a target and you're like, great, here's the North Star. This is where I'm heading. And then you check in with yourself again and you're like, what is it doing over there? And like, and did I get off course? No, I'm still on the same course I was, but now it's over there as things have shifted and changed around me because they're constantly shifting and changing around you. So you kind of got to be prepared for that too.
I'm so glad you brought that up because one thing that was really healing for me early on in some of my awakening, however you want to define that, practices, was when one of my shaman had said to me, "Do you know you're allowed to change your mind? Like you're allowed to have a preference?" And
You stubborn little.
I was like, actually, it was a lot like you described, and I thought that was such a man thing. Like, I've got this target. Someone told it to me or told me I had to decide by 12 years old, and I'm 62 and I'm still headed in that direction, right? And so it's
You're
so
62.
beautiful.
You're not 62.
No, it wasn't. It
All
was,
right, cool.
it's a warning. It's a fair warning to learn how to navigate what Craig just told us a lot sooner, learn how to continue tapping in as that shifts a little bit.
A little bit. Sometimes it does a complete 180,
Okay. I
right? Look,
like
we call that a midlife crisis. People want
what
to
is
call that a
that
midlife
for
crisis.
you? Would you be willing to share? Like, was it business and then it switched to family, or is it like what are you talking about?
Okay. It happens. It happens all the time in life. It happened 3 times in your life, right? All of a sudden, I had a daughter, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm not the most important person in my life, right? Or like, well, I am because we have to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not. We were just talking about this earlier, how the
Yeah.
schedule gets taken over, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I want to support this amazing human. Look, same with my wife, same with my parents. My parents just moved into my house. There's a big shift now. I think it's interesting because you went through this 3 times, and I have a daughter, and I feel like every parent charges into parenthood of like, nothing's gonna change. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. It's gonna be great. My kid's gonna be different. And I think if that's your goal to a certain degree, you can do that, right? You can take your daughter or your child with you everywhere you go. But at some point, at least for us, we realized that that was just a pain in the ass. Like we were just making life that much more difficult. Like, could I bring my daughter to the place that I was going to go to anyway on a normal hangout? I probably could. It would be harmless and it would be all good. But I got to bring the baby bag. I got to bring the car seat. I got to bring that. And then just all of a sudden, you just look at it and you're like, I'm just going to stay home. Or I'm going to go over to my grandma's house or aunt's house or do something that's just a path of lesser resistance, right?
Hmm.
And it's great to have those intentions of everything is going to stay the same, but things change. And I think for me, the sooner I adopted that and recognized that, the better. Look, my parents just moved in with me. I'm super honored to have them here. Like honored to have them here. And my wife and I discussed it and we talked about this being the best thing for the short term and what's going on. Like it's all good. Big adjustment. My parents and I haven't lived under the same roof in a long time. 47. I moved out when I was 19. Like it's been a long time. So there's adjustments that need to happen. There's priorities that shift and change. My dad's working through some health stuff. That means I'm working through some health stuff, right? And we make these shifts and these changes regularly. It happens in my business too, InHarmony. There's right now we're in a point in time where I love recording content and getting out in front of the camera. 2 months ago, it was about building internal systems and literally working inside softwares and integrations and right like next week literally we're shifting gears to our partner program and we're rewriting our partner program. Last week I took 2 days to rewrite our return policy and our warranty. Like it's constantly ebbing and flowing of what is necessary and what becomes the highest priority. I got a desk full of papers that just haven't reached the top of my priority list yet. you know? So like I think there's the macro of like what is this year all about? What is the next 2, 3 years, 5 years all about? And where is that heading? And then there's the day to day of like the minutia of like what do I need to get done today? And then there's the midterm kind of like what needs to get done over the next couple weeks, couple months. What are the bigger projects that I want to put some time and attention to? And I feel like anybody that's working through multiple interests, family, work, owning a business, side hustle, right? Like there's so many different things that it's like all we're really doing is rearranging these priorities and figuring out what of multiple priority lists is the most important you know, right? So I feel like that true north is constantly shifting and changing, and you have to allow it to shift and change. And you have to find time to check in with yourself to see if it has changed and if you're still on course. And it's different for every single one of us at every moment in our lives. It's just constantly evolving. Like what a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that was such a good description of how to move through and how many things we're navigating and how you're moving through it and how it's changing and how you check in. And I definitely think that it sounds like you're like level 220 of some of those things because I think family of origin, and our children are the highest level of learning some of these concepts that we're talking about. Uh, and from what you're saying, some of those skill levels are like acceptance, change, prioritization, checking in with yourself. A lot of the things that you're describing are pretty high level skills that do take an intention and a determination and a desire and work to be able to
Hmm.
do the things that you're describing. I mean, we're not just 18 and able to navigate that. And while you were talking about all that, I was thinking, wow, he's describing all of these things in such a beautiful way of moving through them. And I was
Hmm.
comparing that, to like my 18-year-old self, or, people that are much younger,
Yeah.
how they would move through those things, or how I've moved through those in the past, and how that's changed. And where you're at is really hard because it's one thing to do it in a controlled environment. It's another thing with your family of origin. I mean, your parents and your kids, those are probably the two things that we have the least control out of, the most investment, and
Yeah.
the highest triggers and trauma and things like that surrounding. And so I didn't smile. I wasn't laughing at you, but I was kind of giggling at like,
No.
wow, what a cool gift, an opportunity and test for you to practice a lot of
It's a blast. It's a
things on that.
blast.
You're
Look, you brought up something really interesting, and that is like looking back to your 18-year-old self. Here's the cool part for most of us, okay? And there are certainly exceptions to this. For most of us, life starts pretty simple and pretty straightforward. My 6-year-old doesn't have a tremendous amount of priorities, but they're starting to, right? She's starting to get jobs around the house. She's starting to get responsibilities that we're asking her to take care of. I don't know, at some point in the last year and a half, it went from, I'm not carrying all of your stuff to the car. You're going to carry your stuff to the car. And right when she was 3, it was like, hey, I'm not going to put you in the car. You're big enough to climb in the car, climb in the car. Right. So, like, little by little, you're given these responsibilities. By the way, I think it's also really cute and adorable how when you're a kid, you want to do it. Right. So, like,
Yeah.
when she was able to, like, I got this,
Yeah.
I taught my daughter, I got this instead of I want to do it. And it
Yeah.
was just this adorable, cute little thing of like a 2.5-year-old being like, I got this, dad. It's just so cute. Right. So, like, it builds and it grows. And I truly believe we're not given more than we can handle ever. Sometimes that's a lot more than we feel we can handle at the time, but I promise you, you'll get through it. And some of us have some pretty major issues to deal with at a young age. I know people that have lost parents at a young age. I know people that have lost both parents. I know people that have dealt with tragic accidents and terrible things. And you push through and you get stronger from it. I'm not saying I'm wishing this upon anybody, but I am saying that things happen and responsibility is put upon us in different ways, and that's okay. We find the way to, right? We are resilient. We find a way to push through that. Meditation, mindfulness, sound, vibroacoustics, it can absolutely help. It's interesting. I went and saw the Michael Jackson movie on Saturday night. So again, I don't know when anybody's listening to this, but we saw it like Dolby Atmos. Like, we don't go to the theaters very often, but like that was one we wanted to see in the theaters, and it was awesome. The place was packed, and I already given my age at 47. Like, I remember when these albums came out. I remember when he was right. That was like my childhood, and it brought back a lot for me. I was not expecting this to be a ceremonial experience. I was bawling most of the movie. Like I don't know why. You've sat in ceremony before. I've sat in ceremony before, and the tears just come out, and it's just like that's beautiful. I don't know what it was that I was thinking. I do actually. I remember I was thinking about my dad and how my dad used to dance to that movie, right, with everything he's going through. And I remembered we were the house where everybody came over because we had a big screen TV, and we would get cable that night or pay-per-view or whatever it was, MTV, wherever his previews were. Anyway, it was a very emotional experience. And we saw a 9:45 movie, which was late, and we got back at 1 in the morning, and then my wife and I dropped in for like an hour. And then at the end of our drop in, I was like, I'm gonna do a sound lounge session. I did an hour on the sound lounge, 63 minutes, a music meditation called Ceremonia, which is very much like a ceremony. And I got these incredible downloads about myself, about the role sound and vibration has played in my life, and a message that I need to bring forth to people about specifically peak performance and what this does for me. So you start to talk about priorities, right? And you start to talk about all these different things that we need to do in order to be successful in our own mind. That's a total relative statement, by the way, completely subjective. Success looks different for each and every one of us. But in my eye, success is sometimes just about taking care of things and knocking things off the to-do list, which never ends, by the way, and is constantly building. And the download that I got when I was on my sound lounge is how invincible I feel when I'm using this technology on a regular basis. And when you're invincible, there's nothing. We talked about this, right? The nervous system being re-regulated and getting a good night's sleep, right? We talked about this in part 1 where we were like, when you get a good night's rest, is there anything that the world can throw at you? No. And that whole conversation of nervous system regulation, which I've been having for a decade, translated into this very real feeling of invincibility, like Superman. There was a Superman preview. There's another Superman movie coming out, whatever. Like when you feel like Superman, there's nothing that can be thrown at you that you can't handle. You're just like, I'll take care of it. I'll figure it out. Let's go. And when I'm using our technology on a regular basis, when I feel the most calm and the most relaxed and the most focused, there is nothing any of those different scenarios can throw at me that I can't handle, and I feel invincible. I feel like I am operating at peak performance. And I wanted to share that with the world. That feeling, not the technology. Yeah, great. I have this business. This is what I do. That's awesome. I want more people to feel that feeling of invincibility that I feel when I'm using our technology on a regular basis. And that feeling that I had Saturday night, I sprung off. It was 3:00 in the morning. I'd been up since God knows what on Saturday morning. And I felt invincible. I opened up my laptop. I started doing work. I had this flow of consciousness that I just needed to get out of me. It was 3:00 in the morning. I got to bed at 4. And this feeling of mental clarity and agility and specificity of what I need to do and how crystal clear that was based on the reflection that I attained while I was on the sound lounge through that hour-long session. And by the way, it wasn't an easy session. This was 63 minutes. The first 25 minutes or so was this beautiful, uplifting, amazing experience. And then right about 25 to 30, somewhere in there, I don't know, I didn't check. I had a blindfold on. It got pretty dark. It shifted from a major to a minor. I don't know if you're familiar with music theory and what that means, but
Yeah.
I think you are because I've seen that episode. And it got rough. I was like, I think I'm done. And then I was like, no, see this through. Let's just breathe and let's relax and let the mind go to wherever the mind's going to go. And I went to a little bit of a dark place. And then at the end, it all turned around and came back. And I'm glad I listened to the whole thing. And it felt very much like a ceremonial experience called Ceremonia. It's aptly named. And I moved through those periods of uncomfortability to blossom and bliss. And I felt so empowered. And I immediately began thinking well, this is what a regulated nervous system feels like. This is what it feels like to have a balanced mind, body, and spirit. and I got to tell more people about this. Like, I just came off it like, I need to create content. I need to, I got a message that I need to get out. Peak performance and optimal human, performance. Like, we gotta talk about this. Anyway, as it happens, right? It comes over me over and over again. And it's usually when I'm in that relaxed state that I'm able to express that, put it to words, put a plan together and push forward. It was awesome. Just awesome.
Thanks for painting that picture for us and taking us through some of your that personal experience. The thing
Mm,
I kept thinking through it was, yeah, and what a service to the world that you're doing this and that you're finding your authentic vibration, which is
mm,
it's in service, right? The only way we can be in service to anyone else or the world, besides the cup and the saucer analogy you use, is to find that for your own self, right? Continue to heal yourself, be in that state, and
mm.
then let that overflow. I think it's really cool how vibration in music has played a part in your whole life like that. And it was also sounds like it was also set up when you were a kid that you guys were the host of that, right? You were the family. And then having those full circle moments with the depth of emotion you're able to tie to that intention as well now with your
Oh,
dad.
it was emotional. I mean, look, Michael. So there were a few things that were happening. First of all, Saturday afternoon, literally the afternoon before we saw this movie, my daughter was dancing in the living room. I've never seen her move like that, and it was just this beautiful, ecstatic flow dance to like whatever music we were playing. We're always playing music in the house. I'd never seen her move like that. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching this young Michael Jackson at 8 years old or, 10 years old, whatever, look just like my daughter that afternoon. And she's never seen Michael dance. She's certainly never seen him as the Jackson 5 as a kid dance. Like, that's not part of her purview. Like, and I was like, I said to my EPAC, I was like, Harmony was dancing like that today. And she's like, I know. That's like the same moves. It was just uncanny, right? And I didn't even place it because I hadn't been thinking about Michael Jackson, and that's not part of it. It
Yeah.
just wasn't wild, and and that got me emotional. And then I started thinking about my dad dancing at my bar mitzvah when I was a kid, and the moves that he had were very Michael Jackson esque, and that got me emotional, right? Like, it was just this beautiful state of recognition of the impact that MJ has had on my life and I was a dancer as a kid. I danced at weddings, bar mitzvahs. I emceed parties. Like, I mean, that was my world. 5 parties a weekend. Friday night, 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. That was my world for a long time. So like, and my wife also, coincidentally, 10 years after I did it, my wife was doing the same thing when we met. It was kind of cute. We sat down at one of our first dinners that we were getting to know each other, and she was kind of like being a little bashful, and I was like, "Well, are you all right?" And she's like, "Well, I have something I need to tell you." And I'm like, "Well, what's up?" She's like, "I dance on the weekends," and I'm like, "Oh, really? Like, that's interesting. Like, where do you dance?" And she's like, "Weddings and bar mitzvahs," and I'm like, "No way! I used to do that too." It's just kind of funny.
Ah.
Um, it was very funny. And then here's my daughter dancing like Michael Jackson. Anyway, it was this beautiful moment, and it was exactly what I needed with everything that I have going on. I needed that emotional release. I literally said to my buddy Ben, who came over that afternoon, and we were just kind of talking and checking in on like all the things that I got going on, and I was like, I just need to go to the desert and cry, man. And he was like, cool. When do you want to go? And I was like, soon, like, like, like real soon, like tomorrow. And then I had this emotional experience at the movie theater, and I got out, and I was like, I feel great. And Epec was like, Craig was balling the entire time, like not in a bad way, like in like
Yeah.
almost like a proud way of like, Craig
Yeah.
got the experience he needed. Because on the way to the movie, I was like, hey, I'm not well. My cup wasn't overflowing, and I needed to take care of myself, and I knew it. And this goes back to we were just talking last week, and I was in the middle of all this, right? This is something that's very relative for me. It's very personal for me. And I know it's something that's very relative for every single person that's listening right now, because that's what life looks like. And last week was one of those weeks where I wasn't getting enough sleep. I knew I had a lot going on. Situations were just compounding on each other, and something was going to break. And I was just hoping it wasn't me. And on Saturday night, I was like, I just need to release all this energy. And I got it through a Michael Jackson movie. Ceremony happens in weird places. Just got to be ready for it, or not ready for it, and just roll with it when it comes.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful point, and I'm so glad you illustrated it with that story because, early on, I think I thought too, it needs to look like crying in the desert or a retreat in Italy or whatever it is, and have learned that whatever you need, life will give you right where you are. And that's beautiful and that's okay. And I just love the vibration and movement. I think the part you illustrated so well is what makes us human. It's leaning into the humanity of it all. And that's that those things create a story for us
Mm.
and that's what creates the emotion, our unique experience, because vibration and sound is everywhere. The whole universe is existent because of vibration and sound, right? But
Mm.
when you use that and then through your unique consciousness and your unique experiences, it kind of played a story. I had a vision in a ceremony once because I played the piano since I was little. I'm classically
It's
trained.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. It's
I'm
really
so
cool.
jealous. It's really
Actually,
awesome.
Craig, last night, one of my really good friends in this neighborhood was like, "Do you want to come to my recital? I've been working on something for 2 years." And I had kind of an experience like yours last night. And I was like, "Oh, sure. I know she's been taking some lessons. I don't know her that well. We're new friends." Um, and so I went to support her thinking some other people would be playing. It was 90 minutes of her playing uh,
Wow.
Beethoven concertos and Chopin and all of these things. She's an accomplished, way higher than I am, classical pianist. She's been working for 2 years to put on this concert. And I just sat there and kind of bawled and listened to this classical music for a little bit over an
Wow.
hour before I had to go. And I was like, I had no idea what I was walking into.
Mm.
But that, for me, what I saw it was so beautifully illustrated by your story when I was in a vision and the 88 keys on the piano were shown to me as our life experiences.
Mm.
So all of those points of interest or experiences were laid onto the piano for you, for me,
88.
everybody. Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Not the keys. I mean, that's a lot of life experience. Like, that's a lot of perspective to be
Oh, I
presented.
think it's
That could be
I,
overwhelming.
I think it's infinitely more than that. I think it's 88 billion. But what I was
Totally.
shown was when there's
Totally.
something important that the universe needs to close the loop on for you or for your soul's learning,
Yeah.
what happens is a song will be played from those. Like when you went to Michael Jackson, it was like this key of your daughter, plus the
Mm.
movie, plus your feelings, plus your dad, plus his health problems. It's like the universe is playing these beautiful melodies and songs. And if there's keys missing, right? A lot of times we don't know why we're having these experiences. As a kid, maybe you didn't know why you were dancing at bar mitzvahs or you love Michael Jackson. But when we're willing to surrender and fully have those experiences in our life, we're just adding more keys to the piano. And then I saw the universe just playing melodies and songs.
Mm.
And my point is, that is what sets us apart. That's the beauty. That's what makes us human is that you can lift out these themes, these meaning making, right? Close these loops. And the coolest thing about classical music and why they say, especially like Handel's water music or something, is healing for your brain or you want to listen to it. You probably know this, right? On the vibroacoustic tables or while you're doing your work is you want to listen to a piece that closes those loops, closes the
Mm.
thirds, the fifths, comes and sets you back down, right?
So you know
Not the
music
minor.
theory way better.
Yeah. So I also love that you mentioned the minors because it's part of it. It's part of the music. And if
Yeah.
Ceremonia didn't take you through that, and most like the Beethoven piece she played last night was the second longest one he's ever written. It takes 30 minutes to play through four movements, 9 pages long.
Wow.
And it takes you through the closing the loops, and then it takes you
Mm.
down to like, dun, 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 all the minor
Yeah.
stuff. But look, like what you said, Ceremonia isn't complete without that because
Yeah.
if you don't re-rectify, bring back into harmony, if you don't go to the dissonance to break up and fix and elevate,
Part of breaking the pattern, to your point.
mhm, then
Yeah.
you can't set someone back down. You can't just keep playing, CEG, CEG, and people are like, okay, that feels nice, but you'll never elevate.
Look, it's not all roses and rainbows
Yes.
in anybody's life, period.
Yeah.
My wife is a 25-year first chair violinist, by the way, classically trained at the Turkish Conservatory.
So
So
me and
we need
her
to
could
get
have
we
this
need to get the
conversation
two of
all
you
day.
together for sure. I need a piano in this house. I've been saying for years. We just have a keyboard for my daughter to play on. Like I want a Steinway. Anyway, that's a different conversation. That emotional experience that you walked into, that resonance that you felt with her playing the piano. And the piano is a very important instrument to me. I go to Burning Man every year, and we have a concert pianist, classically trained pianist. We strap him to the back of an art car, and he plugs in a keyboard to silent disco headsets. And we all follow him around while we're listening to him play the piano while we're looking at Burning Man as the backdrop. It is the most emotional experience at Burning Man. We've done it. I've done it 3 times, 4 times, and it is hands down one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. And it's the power of the piano and the it's such a powerful instrument, especially when you're trained and you know how to play it. I'm pretty good at chopsticks. That's about it. But
Yeah,
lean
but
on
you have,
me.
you have talents in other areas, especially
I'd
with
love to
music
one day. I
stuff.
want to play the piano, no doubt. It's
Yeah.
definitely on my list. I got Lean on Me at the beginning of Lean on Me. I could do that pretty well. Um, but uh, but it's beautiful. Even my wife with the violin, I'd love for her to play more often. And her father is a performance artist, and he plays on a regular basis. Like, it's a very musical family that I married into, and I feel very lucky for that. And the power of music and music theory and understanding what these great composers, to your point, are doing to play on our emotions and pull on our emotions is it's almost the cycle of life. It's almost the ebb and flow of and what they have done to captivate the audience, which is made up and comprised of human beings, and each human has their unique human experience. So, in order to captivate an entire audience, you have to captivate the individual. And each of us is going through this beautiful, wonderful, amazing first person perspective of life that has its own ebbs and flows, highs and lows. And I used to do a lot of training in the network marketing space. I'm a 25-year, 30-year marketer in that space, and it's a lot of it personal and professional growth and personal development. And it's the part of that business that I absolutely love. And you can't, they say in the business, don't get your highs get too high or your lows get too low, and that I think holds true with just about anything in life. Like, you're always riding a roller coaster where it's good and it's bad and it's good and it's bad. And when the highs get really high and it's really amazing, it's great for you to experience that and recognize it. But don't let it get too high, because you're just going to start to go back down again. And when you get to that low, don't get that low. It's good to feel those lows, but don't let that low get too low. And kind of keep yourself somewhere in the middle. But we're all going through that, and I think the more we recognize and begin to accumulate the tools that we have, which for you is probably the piano and part of it music. It certainly was for Ipek. I mean, she was classically trained, and every day she was playing the violin. I'm sure it didn't feel like a release at the time, but now it's something that's very beautiful for her to enjoy, and it's a skill that she has acquired and honed in on. That's very beautiful and wonderful. And what a treat and a blessing for everybody around her that gets to listen to her play.
No, I was going to
Right?
say that instrument, that's been on my bucket list, and I've been intimidated and paused because I know the learning curve is so long for
But
that
like anything
instrument, but
else,
it's so beautiful.
yeah, but like anything else, it's just repetition.
Yeah.
It's simply, if that's something that you want to do, then you prioritize the time, and that becomes something that you do. 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, whatever. Right?
Everything's achievable. I feel like that's the message I keep hearing you give us is I got it. Optimize, you can do it. I want to say for people who aren't musical, on the lowest level, the simplest way to resonate or understand this stuff is like you know what music and sounds that you like lean towards or are attracted to. And there's a reason why people listen to things over and over and over again, right? And so you feel that it's healing you, it's doing something. And on a really high level, I wonder if you've seen all that research, it's some quantum stuff, it's vibration shape stuff. It's like what's his name? I just lost the name. That does the shapes in the sand with different resonances. And the person that
Cymatics?
yeah, and the person that does like you say love to water and it makes a
Oh,
coherent
Dr.
form.
Emoto.
Yamoto, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I feel like on the highest level, there's some of that going on. The most recent stuff I read was when they're studying birds chirping, they're
Uh,
really more like echolocating, and the sound and
right.
vibration is creating a picture. And I wonder if you've experienced that because when I hear music, sometimes I see pictures,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that could also be what you're talking about, just first person, like my brain making text to text connections. But those pictures appear, and I want to know what you think about that. But I also want to know about more about what's in your ears on InHarmony's stuff. Like there's the Ceremonia, but what's the method behind all that? Like what
You
else
just
have
asked
you
like three
experienced?
questions
I
that I
saw.
would love to dive
You know what?
into. No, they're all great. They're all
That's
great.
my
Stream
fault.
that consciousness.
That's actually one of the things I've been trying to do better at as a host is like, I want to just lean back and pretend like we're having a conversation, but I can hear. I've heard it all through season 3, where instead of asking a clear question, I ask you 4 things and I keep telling
Well, no,
myself to
you just
stop
touched on.
it.
You didn't ask for a question, just one, but you
Okay.
touched on. There's a few things in there that I want to touch. First of all, you
Okay.
mentioned birds chirping. So interestingly enough, there's new science that now shows that birds chirping in the morning, crying for food, is actually awakening and kicking in hormone release or the equivalent in trees. Right? Like there's this interconnectedness of the forest that I thought was really awesome. I
Okay.
have birds that are now springtime. I have birds that just hatched in a tree in my backyard. They are so loud. And in the evening time, like 8, 9 o'clock after my daughter goes to bed and we're sitting on the couch, they are so loud screaming for food. Like it's the most beautiful thing ever. And then in the morning, we hear them through the window, double pane windows. We hear them through the windows. And I mean, it's the most beautiful thing ever. And this beautiful song that they're singing in the morning. And then you touched on kind of the bigger question, which was InHarmony music. So Anthony Weiss, incredibly talented musician, 25-year self-taught musician. He plays the guitar. He plays a multitude of different instruments. And then obviously we also have these incredible tools at our fingertips in Ableton and Logic and these different software packages that allow us to synthesize music as well. And we have all sorts of different plugins that allow him to manipulate the voice or create, right? Like, I mean, it's just really incredible. So I call them Easter eggs inside our music meditations. And anybody can experience this just right now by going to our YouTube channel and going to our extended music meditations or downloading our app and listening to it. You don't need our technology. You can listen to it with a pair of headphones, AirPods, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anything. The phone on your speaker on your phone. And there are an incredible amount of layers that go into our music. And I call them Easter eggs because you're not always going to hear everything that's in there, but like you might just like catch something like, wait, was that like you're gonna hone in with your musical
Yeah.
ear. You're gonna hone into things that I might not hone in on and recognize. You might recognize these melodies or the harmony. So Ceremonia, Anthony just got this joystick that he can move to move the music around in a 360 degree sphere. And I almost stopped the first time I listened. We have two versions of Ceremonia out right now, 27 minutes and 63 minutes, and we're coming out with a 90-minute version. That's the next one to release. I think it comes out today actually. And in the 27-minute one, which was the first one to come out, I hadn't noticed that the harmony was in one ear and melody was in another. He was playing a guitar, and it was literally two separate recordings in either ear. And I call it an eargasm. I just about lost it. Like I was like, what am I listening to right now? This it sounded like the if there was a focal point of the energy that I was hearing in both ears somewhere in the middle of my dome, it was like moving around and like in this 360-degree sphere of sound. And I was like, this is the most amazing. Like, is this what other people are experiencing when they're listening to this? Like, I actually had to say to my wife, like, hey, have you listened to Ceremonia? Like, do you hear? Is it moving like inside your head? Like, and she was like, yeah. And I was like, then it must be happening for everybody else also. That's amazing. Like,
But that's really cool. And what
so-
is the benefit of us hearing things like,
well, so there's something called binaural beats.
mhm.
If you're not familiar with binaural beats are basically one for you need headphones for it to work best because you can't have the spillover of frequency. But binaural beats is basically two different frequencies within 10 hertz of each other, played through each ear specifically. So in this one you're hearing 110 hertz, and in this one you're hearing 115 hertz. The brain then creates this harmonic third frequency, and that's what you actually hear. So you're not hearing 110 or 115, you're hearing 112.5. Really powerful to, we have left hemisphere, right hemisphere of the brain. The right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, the left hemisphere, the right side of the body. So when you do this, it harmonizes and opens up new neural pathways. And there's a bunch of neurological benefits that come from listening to binaural beats. This is going to kind of take that to the next level, because not only are you listening to a binaural beat, but you're moving the position. I mean, it literally felt like where I was hearing it in my head was moving. It was just wild. I highly recommend download our app. It's free, 14-day trial. Ceremonia.
What a gift. It's just so exciting because it's like a real person, this guy you got creating music with human intuition. And then I don't know. It's
So
so exciting.
I talked to him 3 times. Anthony and I talk a lot. We're dear
Yeah.
friends. We perform together. We're on stage together. Like, we've produced things together. Like, and we have 255 music meditations, and we've talked about just about every one. Like, either it's an idea that came from our user group, somebody who's like, hey, or some research that I found on like parasite cleansing is 728 hertz is really positive to help with cleansing parasites.
Mm.
All right, cool. So then I send that over to Anthony, and I'm like, I put that on our list in Monday.com of like projects, and I'm like, when you find your inspiration around 728 hertz, do some research on its impact on parasite cleansing, and he does, and then he tunes a music meditation to that and rolls out, and then mysteriously, people call us and they're like, hey, I've worked this into my colonic business, or I've worked this into my detox business, and I'm having profound results.
That's
I'm
so
like,
incredible. And that's what I was going to ask. Is there like a feedback form to be like, hey, I work in addiction recovery. What do you have for that? Or I'd like to request this to come
yeah,
up in the next year or two.
absolutely. So we have our Telegram user group. We have obviously our support inbox, and yeah, we get those messages all the time. Somebody, my buddy, my Louis Pancoast, he runs Next Level Healthcare, and he was like, hey man, 111 hertz. Here's the research I'm looking at. Can you make a music meditation at 111 hertz? And I'm like, sure. We did, right? Like,
What did
we
he
can make
want it
anything.
for?
For quantum healing. It was, again, just quantum access, and he was looking at this deep research on protons and the quantum field, and I
Well,
was like, sure. So we did that. We did it in C sharp, and it just turned out to be this beautiful and incredible music. So, music meditation. The
wow.
feedback that we get from our community, we have 11,000 app users as of the recording, and a very active user group on Telegram, and I read it multiple times a day, where there's posts and comments and questions, and our entire team is in there to. I built this company so that I could use the music meditations, and there's people that are using it. I want their feedback. Like,
Well,
I don't have all the ideas.
there's so much gravity around, like you said, the authenticity and that this is your gift to the world. Have you
I
ever
love it.
thought
It's my
about,
gift to me also, by the
yeah,
way.
that's
Like,
what
I
I
use this stuff every single day. It's how I have impact. I have impact through you sharing this. I have
yeah.
impact through our clients that are using our customers that are using our technology with their clients. And I need a reminder. Like, if you're somebody who has InHarmony technology, here's your reminder to go get on it. right?
Mm.
What is it? The cobbler's son has no shoes, right? Like, right? Like we're the last ones to take care of ourselves or our family. And it's like, no, I'm telling you, take care of yourself first.
Right.
And look, there are plenty of times where Dom is my business partner. He's amazing. We've been friends for 15 years. We've been together building this business for 10. And, Dom's got a lot going on in his life too. And I got a lot going on in my life. And we're a phenomenal reflection to one another of like, he'll call me and be like, hey man, I got to talk about a couple of things. And I'd be like, cool, let's do that. When was your last sound lab session?
Mm.
And he'll be like, oh man, I don't know. It's been days. And I'm like, cool, do me a favor. Go catch 5, 10 minutes and then let's drop in and talk about it. And he's like, okay. And we're not allowed to say no. We're like, right? Like, because we both know that it's like, you're probably right. I should go do that. Let me go drop in. Let me go think about this. And then you're going to be able to talk, much deeper and much more profoundly about it.
Practice what you.
Powerful tool.
Mm-hmm. Does InHarmony Interactive, does the company run any events or retreats or things like that?
Gosh, we should. And I don't want to shit on myself. Um, I'd like to, is the short answer. I have been setting a pretty heavy boundary over for the first 4 months of this year, which is no events. And I've been here building, working. I've picked up a lot of podcasts because of it, because I love to share and create. Um, I'd like to put an event on the calendar probably for 2027, getting everybody together. I think that's really important. We have a huge community. They are, I think I'm kind of at the center point of knowing a lot of our partners and affiliates just because of my role at the company. And I get to talk to them on a regular basis. I get to help them through, whatever they're working on, new clients, onboarding, training their staff. I'm going this afternoon to Reshape here in Vegas. I'm going to train their staff. Like, I have this very unique perspective on this business that I've built along with Dom, but I'm the front face of it. And they're all amazing. Like, I love our community. I love the people that find us and choose to buy from us and work with us. I would love, 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 love to get all of our app users together in one space, or all of our, owners of our technology together in one space. I think it would be magical. We've been talking about this for a very long time. And yes, the short answer is I'd like to do that. I think that'd be brilliant and beautiful.
That'd be cool. Everyone would just vibrate, right?
Yeah, Anthony making music. We'd have him like set up with a little recording studio where he's like
Ah,
making music,
100%.
catching recordings of people's voices and mantras, and yeah, getting people involved in what we're doing. Yeah, we've held a pretty solid vision for what that might look like. We just simply haven't put it to happen yet, but it's coming.
Well, I love that. And I love the reminder, and like we talked about in the first episode, that the base and foundation of everything is the vibration and the sound, and everyone finds it, especially if you start entering this journey. It's not too long before someone ends up in music. So I'm grateful for what you've created and the level that you and your company are taking it to. It's really cool. Before we end, here's my last question. I didn't
We're
get to
going
ask
for
you
another
last
hour. It's
episode.
crazy.
I know. But I do have one. This is the question I love to end on, and it's just like, specifically to you as Craig Goldberg, if there is one thing on your heart, like one message, one thing that you're like, wow, I just really want to channel, drop in, say this thing, and it doesn't even have to be about the subjects we've been talking about. Before we end, I wonder if we could request that gift.
Mm, it's funny. Yeah, it's fantastic. Take care of yourself and give yourself the gift of showing up in the most powerful way that you know how to show up. Give that gift to yourself and those around you, because when you're vibrating high, when you're in your fullest capacity, when you're operating from a place of abundance and overflow and in that peak performance, everybody around you feels it, and they will step up their performance, albeit temporarily, but they will step up their performance. And because we're all resonating with one another, we're all reflections of one another, we're all antennas picking up on the energy of the people that are around us. So when you show up in your highest and best version of yourself, and again, going back to authenticity at the beginning of this conversation, right? Everybody around you will begin to show up in their highest and best version as well. And that's when magic happens. That's when teams really excel and hit things out of the park and create newness that's never been seen before, or do things that just a well-oiled machine can knock out and get done. So that can be with your family, that can be with your friends, that can be with whatever, right? Do what you need to do to show up in the best version of yourself, whether that's sound, vibration, meditation. InHarmony products, great, but if it's our music, that helps, awesome. But if it's something else, I don't know if it's a playlist, if it's Jim Morrison, if it's Britney Spears, whatever, I don't know, whatever the music is that gets you going, whatever the experience is that gets you going, whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, give yourself and those around you the gift of showing up in your fullest and brightest potential, and see what happens. Try it, get after it and take care of yourself so that you can show up in that capacity and see what happens to your life and see what happens to the people around you. Look, some people you might push away. That's okay. Some people might not be able to handle it. That's okay. The ones that can, and the ones that resonate, and the ones that pull towards you, and the ones that want to upgrade and up level, those are the people you want around you anyway. And I've noticed that with myself. When I show up in my highest and best version of myself, what that does to the people around me, and my daughter and my wife, who's super empathetic, compassionate. Figure out what that is for yourself and give yourself that gift of showing up in your highest and best good.
Thank you. That felt really personal. I needed to hear that. So I hope other people got that too. That's great. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here again. And I'm going to tag all of Craig's stuff. He's on all the social medias, InHarmony. I noticed a lot of them say InHarmony Interactive, but mostly just thank you for sharing your heart and your energy in this format that is going to last forever. It's a never-ending.
I'm so excited.
I love it.
I love it. I'm so grateful for part 2.
Thank you for listening. Connect with me on Instagram at Crystal Zinn Yoga. Subscribe on my website at crystalzinnyoga.com to receive tools and practices for your holistic journey and to be the first to know about offerings, workshops, trainings, and retreats. We live in powerful times that require courage, bravery, compassion, authenticity, community, and grounding. You're not alone. Check out my free content, classes, and meditations on YouTube under Crystal Zinn Yoga, and have a beautiful day. Sat Nam.